What if I tell you that Black Ops 6 has better graphics than Modern Warfare? Well, logically this is true, but not visually. So in today's video I'm gonna explain why the graphics in newer Call of Duties look so bad, but they still call it an upgrade. And yeah, I'm gonna touch on Vanguard, Cold War, MW2 and MW3 too, because there's a pattern here that explains everything from downgraded visuals to why performance keeps getting worse. Let's start then. Let's start with the obvious. MW19 looks phenomenal. The lighting, the atmosphere, the depth, it's cinematic. Well, that explains because in MW19, if you inspect a weapon, the UI does not hide like in BO6. Because you know, BO6 looks bad visually. In BO6, it feels flat, like something's off. Is it textures? No. Resolution? No. It is the lighting. That is the key. MW19 had arguably the best lighting system in any Call of Duty to date. It was dynamic, directional, it cast shadows accurately, it gave everything that gritty real world vibe. BO6, just like MW2 and MW3, loses that. The lighting feels artificial, the environments look dull, and it's all because of how the light interacts or doesn't with the world. So visually, MW19 still wins. Fun fact, all of these code games are made using the same IW engine, but with newer codes, they add more modifications. So again, logically, Call of Duty 1 and Black Ops 6 and every other code is made using the one and only IW engine. But here's the twist. Logically, BO6 is better, and I know that sounds weird. What I mean is, behind the scenes, the game is doing more. There's better texture streaming, more environmental detail, higher poly models, improved animations, and more complex systems running. Same with MW2 and MW3. They look worse to the eye because of lighting, not because of actual graphical fidelity. So when people say code is downgrading, that is not true. What's happening is they are upgrading in all areas except the one that hits us first, the lighting. Fun fact, graphics in newer codes look bad because of the sharpening filter too. Here's an example. MW2 looks bad with a sharpening filter, but it looks really good without any sharpening filter. Now let's talk about lighting because this is the real downgrade. In MW19 the lighting was heavy, realistic and immersive. Cold War actually had pretty good lighting too, not quite MW19 level but still solid. Vanguard surprisingly had lighting that felt close to MW19 again. But then something changed in MW2 and carried into MW3 and now PO6. Lighting became flatter, more artificial, less atmospheric. That's why even though the textures are sharper, models are better and environments are denser, but it still feels worse. Here's a quick comparison between the lighting of MW19 and MW2. And here's the catch. Performance is dropping in these newer titles. But again, that's not because of downgrades, it's because they are doing more. Lighting systems are being simplified probably to save resources, but everything else. So even though the game looks worse to your eyes, your hardware is working way harder. What I want to explain here is that if you notice, MW2 has better and sharper textures than MW19 and devs focused on textures and other things a lot. But do they forgot about the lighting? No, that is not the case. If they are improving everything, then why not the lighting? You see, lighting is really heavy on both CPU and GPU and it decreases the performance a lot. So to keep the performance good, they reduce the lighting quality. By the way, if you want to support me in Combat Master, here's a creator code. Just paste it and you'll be good to go. This part is just a throwback to older titles after MW19 and before MW2. And yes, I am talking about Cold War and Vanguard. With a solid campaign, the graphics in Cold War were really good. The lighting was good and people didn't complain about the graphics. Same goes with Vanguard. I know it is considered one of the worst codes, but in terms of graphics it was really good and better than Cold War, but close to MW19. Graphics in these games were not really a complaint, but it all started with MW2 when, in its beta stage, people started saying things like old as graphics, etc. So yeah, BO6 might look like a downgrade from MW19, but it is actually doing more under the hood. The real issue is just the lighting. Fix that and suddenly all these newer codes would probably look as good as they actually are. Let me know what you think in the comments and drop a like if you are tired of this weird code lighting trend.